All right, so welcome back to the Victory Podcast. I'm joined here today with a lady that I appreciate, Miss Tabitha Dugas. They're part of our, she and her husband Corey are part of our church family here. And so welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I want to tell you something real quick that you are what's your official title?
I'm the executive director.
So she's the executive director of New Life Counseling Incorporated, which is what?
We're a pregnancy center.
Okay. So I want to make this more about you than us, but I do want to say that part of the reason I want to have this conversation with you is because, you know, like our core values here at Victory, one of them is mission. And so I love seeing people live on mission, and you are kind of the poster child for somebody living on mission, which I appreciate. And so we'll dive into what that mission is specifically for you. But we like that. We like this conversation because I believe it highlights that core value of ours. And over the last few weeks, I don't know if you guys have noticed, we had our missionaries come in and different missions and stuff. And so anyway, it's great to talk to you. And I love the fact that, because a real disciple lives on mission, right?
Yes.
I mean, all of us have something to contribute to the kingdom of God. We just got to find out what God has for us, and you have done that. And so anyway, want to have a conversation about it. And want to introduce our body to you and also to New Life Counseling, and hopefully
Thank you.
that will help everything grow from there. So
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
yeah. So last week you made an appointment with Lori and I, and you told us that you were coming around to churches. And so let me ask you what you're doing with churches and kind of why you scheduled that appointment with Lori and I, and then what you're doing with other churches and just kind of what's going on right now in that world.
Yes, absolutely. So as everyone mostly knows, the overturning of Roe v. Wade was on June 24th this year. And it was a huge, day that we'd been praying for.
Right.
And so in the aftermath of that, one of the biggest questions has been, how is the church going to react? What role will the church take? Basically, ultimately, now that, abortion is not an option. And so what I've been trying to do is meet with churches and see what they have in place. What are their plans? I truly believe that churches want to be a part of the post-Roe America, and they do want to fulfill their role. Sometimes they just don't know what their role necessarily is.
Yeah.
So often I show up, ask a couple questions, because ultimately every church has strengths. They have their strengths. And if your strength is in adoption, and the church down the road's strength is in adoption, well, we don't, we got to work together.
Right.
So hopefully we can fulfill all the needs of these pregnant women. And so I'm also putting together a resource guide that I'm trying to share with the churches so that they will know of the available resources if they have a woman in crisis in their church.
And honestly, when you asked me that question, it was like, wow, what are we doing, as a church? And I was telling somebody earlier, I think you were telling us that your board of directors is 90% Catholic?
Yes.
And I'm like, the Catholics have done a really good job of staying on
They have.
point with the whole abortion issue. A lot of us Protestants, in the 80s, we were all up in arms, but then we just kind of got distracted on other things. So thank you to our Catholic brothers and sisters who have stayed with it.
They have done a great job. They they had been planning prior to the overturning of Roe, and they have basically delegated a pro-life advocate in each church that will kind of serve the role. If a woman is in an unplanned crisis pregnancy within the church, she is directed to her. And
Beautiful.
then she is given the resources.
Awesome. That's great. So tell me, you were, you mentioned the other day that, like, what does post-Roe mean? I mean, what is happening? Does that mean there's no more abortions in the world and the fight's over and all? Talk to us about that, and specifically about our area, because you were sharing some things about Louisiana.
Yes.
And our area. So I don't know, what do we need to know?
So even pre-Roe, overturning of Roe, what I had found also was that a lot of people generally in our area, even in Louisiana, I would say, they always think of abortion as this topic, this thing that happens in these other areas, whether it's New York, whatever, but it's not here. And that's just not true. And so abortion did exist in Louisiana pre-Roe, and it still exists post-Roe. The landscape has changed quite a bit. Louisiana had 3 abortion facilities. They are supposedly all closed at this point. However, if you call any of these facilities, they will direct a woman to the closest facility, which I think currently is Florida. Many workplaces will pay their employees to be flown, travel expenses, and the abortion expenses as well. And then what we have definitely found, and this is one of the scariest things that I believe is occurring currently, is that at the beginning of the summer, there were around 30 online abortion providers. Currently, I believe there's well over 78.
Wow.
So this is where a woman can go online, she answers a few questions, and the abortion pill is mailed to her home. Pre-Roe, they would say not past 10 weeks gestation. They've extended that to 13. So we're now into the second trimester of these women having abortions at home with no provider, no care.
That's crazy. It's crazy to me too how accommodating our culture is for abortion.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll pay for it. We'll get you there. We'll feed you dinner. We'll put you up in a hotel.
Yes.
You know, it's like they're so accommodating. But then you were just sharing that, like, you guys on Google right now are getting, ghosted or whatever. I don't think either
I'm not
one
sure
of us
the term
know the terms.
geofencing. I made up a couple. Basically, we can't show up for much of anything.
So when somebody Googles, if they Google abortion, they're going to come up with 1,000
Yes.
options.
Online providers, yes.
Yeah, and we're going to assist you in every way. But if you get online and look for crisis pregnancy, whatever, they're even having trouble finding you guys because of Google right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, they've basically buried us. So we would get a lot of clients previously. Even if they want to, they have questions about abortion. How does abortion work? What are my options? Different things. We don't come up for any of those things right now. So we are trying to plead to Google, but I don't know how well that'll go. So prayers. But we'll see. We are currently buried pretty deep. And where before, we were always, top 5, whether or not it was adoption, abortion, pregnancy test, any of those things, ultrasounds. Yeah, we are just buried.
It kind of shows you where we are as a culture, though,
Yeah.
isn't it? That's crazy that it would be like that.
Yes.
You would think that would be.
And I think it's pregnancy centers as a whole. And, it's not just us.
Yeah, because you said ABC is another organization in our area that deals with crisis pregnancies. And
so me and Becky have been in contact, and we'll figure something out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So abortion's still here.
Yes, abortion is here. It looks much different. Abortion can look like, an abortion provider can be a mailbox these days because, they put it in a little packaging that you don't know what it is. It could be disguised. They'll mail to anyone. There's no real criteria. We don't know what is actually in these pills. So it's just very scary to think of these young ladies at home having an abortion at 16, 15 years old. They always say it's like toilet bowl abortions, and that is what it is. They tell them to look away and these horrible things.
And you're a nurse as well,
I am.
right?
I'm a registered nurse.
Yeah. So you're a believer.
Yes.
And a nurse, and so you kind of got both ends of this thing covered.
I try.
Yeah, beautiful. So tell me, so what is? You were telling us some of the other day some of the things that you guys do. Why New Life? And I was blown away because I just honestly, Tabitha, we get distracted with the world around us and everything that's going on. But when I think about like adoption, I think adoption is one of the most beautiful things that you can do.
It is.
I mean, it is the heart of God.
It is the most
somebody
selfless.
in.
Yes.
And it's going to cost you money, time, energy, effort. I mean, it's a sacrificial act, but I think it's one of the most beautiful things that can be done. And so anytime we're talking about protecting children, I mean, it's just such a beautiful thing. But again, I lose sight that there are people like you guys and your organization that's doing this. So tell us a little bit about what you guys offer and what you would like. Because I know you're probably sitting there going, I wish people knew what we have available. You know, so can you talk to us a little bit about?
Yeah, certainly. So as a crisis pregnancy center, we do pregnancy tests, ultrasounds. We currently do STI testing and treatment. We have parenting classes that we have online and in person. We have Spanish classes on Friday. We've been very blessed to have that because it was a huge need. And then we also have, I feel like I'm missing something else. We do have now the abortion pill reversal, which we are very excited about. So yes, if you just take the first abortion pill, it can be reversed.
So if some little girl is scared,
yes,
and doesn't know if she's pregnant, but thinks there's a possibility, she just calls you guys?
She just calls us, and everything is free, completely confidential.
That's crazy.
We don't charge for anything, none of our services. We also have a licensed counselor on staff as well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's just incredible. I mean, who knows that that's there and available for people? I mean, that is a great service to people.
Yeah. Well, and, our heart is to serve women, in crisis. I always say in planned and unplanned pregnancies. We serve women who also are happy to be pregnant.
Yeah.
We want to serve women. We want to educate women. We want to empower women. The problem, one of the largest issues that we face with abortion, obviously, is the lies that abortion is based on. Abortion is ultimately, its entire foundation is lies. Whether or not you talk about the legal aspects of the safe and legal, and it can't be safe. A human being is dying, it can't be safe.
Right.
Whether or not it was rare, it was never rare.
Wow.
And so, and then the lies that trick the women into believing that this is the best thing for them.
Yeah.
Abortion is never going to be the best thing for them, ever. Also, the lies that got her to the abortion facility in the first place, whether it's she can't be a mom yet, she's not financially stable, she won't be able to finish school. All of these lies, we try to truly, truly speak life into them, to empower them. Women were created with life.
Oh, absolutely. And from what I've gathered just talking to you, when a woman walks into your facility, your staff is just, that's why they're there.
Yes.
And so they're not being bothered, they're not looking down, they're not judging.
No.
It's just like, finally, we get to serve somebody. That's just unbelievable to me.
Yes. And we also have a post-abortive ministry as well, because we always want to speak with complete compassion on the subject of abortion. We know women are in churches every Sunday, whether or not they've had an abortion or they're contemplating an abortion. And so we want to speak on the subject with love and truth. We serve a good Father. He is quick to forgive. There is redemption and there is healing.
Yeah.
So, we want to speak love into women, regardless.
How people like us get labeled by society. What I'm hearing you say does not match the labels that get attached to us, right?
No, that's why they have to bury us on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I'm just thinking of this scared little girl walking in there.
Exactly.
And she didn't know what she's about to experience, but I would assume 90% of the time she goes away going, wow.
Yes. So 90% of women who see their unborn child on an ultrasound will choose life.
So y'all do ultrasounds?
We do ultrasounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's got to be a cool moment.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the window in the womb. It's the most amazing thing. Ultrasounds are beautiful.
Wow. Man, thank you for doing this for
Absolutely.
our community.
Yes.
And it is truly our pleasure. I hope this gets 1 million views. Really, because I think more light needs to be shined on organizations like you guys and what you're doing, because it's kind of quiet, but it is effective, right?
Yeah, it's very, yes. And again, our heart is for women. Our heart is for families. The biblical model of a family unit, to get back to that. So I know you had spoken on fatherhood, and, that's our heart as well. We do have fatherhood classes online too.
Jeez.
Yeah, so we
do
really,
it all, man.
we try to do it all. We really try to serve families well. And so often I'll ask, is there anything I'm not doing? If there's anything I'm not doing, let me figure out, can I do it? Is it within our mission? Or can I at least get a resource that is providing that, so that we can direct our families to those people?
Beautiful. How long have you been in this position?
I have only been in this position since January of 2020. I got the beautiful year of 2020.
Wow. Yeah, you've weathered that storm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. How big is your team?
We currently have 6 of us, and then we have volunteers. Pregnancy centers are largely based on volunteer service hours, and so we are so fortunate for our volunteers.
How well has the church partnered with you in this stuff?
The church is they do well. They do well. I think, again, it's a lot of getting out there. It's a lot of this kind of conversation that has to happen, because I honestly believe many churches don't know what we do.
Once you see it,
yes,
you can't
Yes.
ignore it. This is so beautiful.
Yes. And I think it's just, it's getting out there, education, and letting everyone know what we do.
Good. How's funding?
Funding is, we're about to have a banquet. Our banquet is October 4th, so it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's at the Civic Center. This will be our 31st annual pro-life banquet. So we're excited. Banquets, everybody likes banquets.
Yeah.
So, we have a good speaker this year, Miss Rebecca Hagan. She actually had a son by the abortion pill reversal. So
Wow.
we are very excited to have her.
Beautiful. How much money are you trying to raise? as much as possible.
I have a new mission for next year. I have taken on another something that was just very big on my heart. I fear that we don't reach women in our rural areas very well. And so we have decided to go ahead and move forward with getting a medical mobile unit to serve our rural communities better with all of our services. So we'll be able to provide our pregnancy test, ultrasounds, options counseling, STI testing, treatment, and get women signed up for whatever classes, whatever resources they need.
Wow. So that's going to be another expenditure.
It's a bit of an expenditure.
Yeah. How's your board feel? They think you're
nervous.
crazy?
It's possible. It's possible. I think that sometimes, but you press in and the Lord provides, and
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Well, your passion for this is infectious, really.
Thank
I
you.
love talking with you about this, and Laurie and I enjoyed meeting with you last week, and so it's really our pleasure to bring more light to this, and we want to learn as a church how we can partner with you guys better. So that's coming in the future. All right, tell us some stories. I don't know. Tell us something interesting. Tell us. I know you got to protect. We don't want
Yes.
to expose anybody or anything, but
Yeah.
anything good happening or what's going on?
Yeah, I was asked, what is the greatest part of my job? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, it's a good job. I always say it's one of the most rewarding. It's emotionally tiring at times dealing with abortion. You're always on the front lines of life. You're battling for the unborn, the most vulnerable. So it can be emotionally draining. But there is something about when a woman comes in who was contemplating abortion, and they come in, and usually Courtney, my staff member, will come and say, "Hey, they have the baby here. She wants to see the director." And there's something about I always say I walk out of my door, and I see that baby.
Wow.
And so it just makes it all worth it, So, when a woman chooses life, and you see the child that may not have been, but you had a small part in that, because of obedience. I always say, we just show up. God does the work.
Yeah.
And so it is truly rewarding. And, I have not met any woman who has chosen life and regretted it. So, that's important to remember.
Yeah.
In fact, most women will be upset that they even thought that ever even came up.
Yeah.
And so often they just need the support of one person, anyone.
Yeah.
So I always tell everyone, if you could just be that support.
Wow.
Just be that support. And so I'm not going to know every crisis pregnancy. So we have to rely on our brothers and sisters to support and be there for others, for these women. But one story, I had a video last year at our banquet, and one of our clients, she was definitely hard pressed to have an abortion. And she would come in every week. We would do ultrasounds. It was back and forth. And she told the story of, how she ended up having the baby, and, now she can't imagine her life without him.
Yeah.
He's the light of her life.
Yeah.
And so, it's just important that we play our part, especially as Christians, in standing for the unborn. They are the most vulnerable.
That's right.
And they can't stand for themselves, so they rely on our voice and us to be the defense.
Yeah. One of the challenges of ministry is having that moment where you're like, it worked, of like,
Yes.
There it is, success, and I'm very much goal oriented.
Yes.
It's like, I don't mind putting in the work, but I want to see the payoff.
Yeah.
Well, in ministry, sometimes that's hard.
It is.
Like we're a discipleship church, it's God doesn't just hand down a discipleship badge.
Yeah.
All
There
of a
you
sudden
go.
okay, we made
Yeah.
it with that one,
Yeah.
But in your line of work, to be
Yes.
able to see that child and go, this
Yes.
was worth it.
Yes. When you get to hold that baby, then you're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
We had some sleepless nights, and, so yeah, just to even be able to be a part of that, I'm so grateful to the Lord, just that he would be so good.
But heart-wrenching too.
It is very,
Because,
very,
nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, I think I'll go have an abortion
No.
today.
No,
There's always pain behind it.
there is. And
And I
that's
love
what I
the-
would say. They, they would say it was a difficult decision. It was a difficult choice. Well, what made it difficult? Because it's a human.
Yeah.
It's a little image bearer.
Yeah, that's
so
right. That's a
we
good way to
have
put
to, we have to see it for what it is.
But these women, no doubt, have had a hard time and there's challenges.
Yes.
And sometimes it's hard to see. I've been down in the pit before where you're like,
Yes.
what's my next step? Am I going to survive this? Is it going to be okay? And so I know these women are hurting. And I love that y'all are empathetic toward those women,
Yeah.
and ministering to the moms as well, because it's not an easy decision.
No.
I don't know. I think culture says it's an easy decision,
They do.
Yeah, I'm going to go
do.
get.
Well, we take a pill for everything. So,
Yeah.
especially with the abortion pill, I believe that's why they've been able to market it so well, is because especially in America, you have a headache, you take a pill. You have a stomach ache, you take you take a pill for everything. So
Yeah.
you're pregnant, you don't want to be pregnant, here, take a pill.
Yeah,
And so it's this quick fix.
Yeah.
But it's not. It has long-term consequences.
I bet.
There is shame and guilt and pain, and even though it may not be immediate, it does tend to happen. Our post-abortive ministry, Life After Choice, led by Miss Marcia Scheck-Snyder, their group has been meeting. Some of these women are 30 years out
Wow.
from their abortion, and they still need this support group because they still need the healing.
wow.
So I always think that's a testimony to the healing is not quick.
Yeah.
It takes a long time.
Yeah,
And so, you can get forgiveness, you can get redemption, but the healing takes time.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, wow, beautiful. Well, again, I'm so proud of you, and thank you for what you do, and I hope exposure happens here for this ministry, and that you probably need some more help too, right? If somebody is interested in helping
Yes,
this in some
definitely.
way,
I always say prayer, volunteers, and money. Those are always our needs.
Yeah.
We always need volunteers. We love our volunteers. It could always be something different. Everyone has talents. I'm sure you have talents that I do not have. I could assure you.
Yeah.
So, if you have something, call me. Definitely.
Beautiful. So financial support, you guys, how do you support you financially? You guys?
We have monthly donors. We have one-time donors. We have people who buy tables to events, sponsorships. We have people who sometimes just, that they just drop off checks. It could be different things. We take money in all the ways these days. I get lost. It gets
I got you.
confusing. Yeah.
Got you.
And so I was like, just write a check. I'm old school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So yeah, you can support this ministry financially. They can come see you at church,
come see-
and
yes.
and if you're watching this, I would say come shake her hand Sunday at church and just get to know you. And again, I think it's infectious, your passion for this, and so I just hope the Lord just floods you guys with all the resources you need, and because this is really, really, really good stuff, Tabitha. I'm telling you. We spend a lot of energy trying to help people, but this is something that I think is just beautiful. So thank you for doing that.
absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful. And thank you for, especially since you're one of ours, I'm just really proud, and not that we created you, this
Yeah.
is your work and,
No, you
and
guys have
what
been
God has
amazing.
been doing in you. And, but to know that we're able to be some part of your journey is just
Well, and I
beautiful.
appreciate you speak on the topic from the pulpit. And like I said, many Protestant churches these days do not. And it is a hard topic. It always is. It's a tricky topic because we do want to be loving. We want to be compassionate. But we also have to consider the image bearer.
Yeah.
And so, that's the biggest issue I find is that if we say nothing, then we're saying a lot.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, speaking of that, remember I told you the other day that the last time I spoke about abortion from the pulpit, what I did was I made an offer like, hey, if you disagree with me or you don't, please come talk to me. And I was so honored that somebody came and talked to
Yeah.
me. But I would think even come talk to you.
yeah.
And we're not going to shame you. We're not going to shove our beliefs down your throat. We are going to speak truth, and we're not
Yes.
going to dance around anything. But it's not going to be ugly and anything like that. But I think it's healthy to have these conversations because I do believe abortion is shrouded in lies. That's the only
It is.
conceivable reason that people would say.
Yes.
Honestly, it blows me away how passionately people fight for abortion. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I can understand somebody being okay with it, but when people are like marching and demanding, and I mean, just like so proud of this, and I'm going, this just doesn't feel right. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing about this that seems like it should be celebrated.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe tolerated,
Yeah.
but never celebrated,
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I always think it's very demonic, And so to attack the very image of God himself, you know, in the weakest form,
Yeah.
I think drives a lot of it.
Yeah.
And so, I just feel like Satan is manipulating and using these individuals to basically attack,
Yeah.
our Lord. So
I think if you're a believer and you have the opportunity to talk with somebody about it, do it carefully, do it lovingly, and don't, nobody learns when they're defensive. So
Yeah.
shouting at them and all that kind of stuff's not going to work. But having conversations where you just speak truth and
Yes.
love, I think could be an asset here too. So anyway,
yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Thank you for taking time. And again, I hope New Life Counseling just gets flooded with more resources. And so thanks for joining us on our podcast. And if you want to connect with Tabitha, you can come see her at church or go visit New Life or whatever. Make an appointment.
we love giving tours. I gave a tour this morning. I love giving tours.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Thanks. Catch you on the next one.